absolutely, 100%, 100%, 100%, it is 100% guaranteed that Trump can win if the following situations take place. Let me say this again. Let me explain this again. Let me make sure you understand this. 100% guaranteed. You're going to be told everything in the world right now that this is impossible, that the country is not ready for him, the country doesn't like him, his days are over, it's a different time, it's a different era, it's a different period of time, they don't like his tweets, they don't like this. I'm telling you right now, believe me when I say this to you. Believe me when I say this to you. Not only is the country right, not only is the country ready, but we desperately need him. Now let me explain to you what has to be done, and listen very carefully, because remember, you have to be the apostle. Let me say this again. You just can't take this information and just keep it to yourself. You always have to go out and talk to friends and spread this thing organically. You have no idea how much you can affect the course and the history of the world by telling people ahead of time what's going to happen. Number one, remember what I'm saying to you. The country is fed up. Nobody is believing what's going on. Nobody follows this woke nonsense. To call it woke doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even approximate. It doesn't even approximate what's happening. To call it woke or left, these labels mean nothing. We are so sick of this at every level there is. And you have to pull yourself away from TV, away from cable, away from the madding crowd, away from the window, and listen to what I'm saying. Americans are disgusted. Disgusted. It's a different time. Now, next, what are the issues? What is happening? What would be the reason? What would be the reason for anybody not to say, I'm voting for him? Because he's going to be the Republican nominee. He's going to be the Republican nominee, and Fox is freaking out. Why do you think they've already agreed so far with this, with a debate between DeSantis and our buddy, as I told you, Gavin Newsom. Remember I told you Gavin Newsom's going to be the nominee. Why do you think they're already doing this? Because everybody hates Trump. Trump is divisive, divisive. He destroys everything. And that's the reason why you should love him, crave him, adore him. Thank God for him. He is the most wonderful thing because everybody hates him. Now, next, it's about voting. If they don't secure the vote, I'm telling you right now, if they don't secure the vote, if they don't make sure that these precincts are safe, it's over with. Listen to what I'm telling you. It's over with. I can't say that enough to you. You have been told and you have been led to believe that if you were to even bring up the idea that maybe votes could be lost, that votes could be compromised, that somehow you're un-American or you're a lunatic or, God forbid, a conspiracy theorist, you're being told this. You're being told this on a regular basis. And you can't let that you can't let that even remotely affect you. And right now you've got Fox and others who are scared. Let me tell you something. This Dominion and Smartmatic, this was one of the best moves ever because it told people, we will not be a part of this. We will not be a part of this anymore. So you just stay away from this. And if you listen to these cable news, and by the way, I'm going to say this again, you're wasting your time. Because you think about this. Information is like nutrition. What I'm giving to you not only fortifies you, it fills your belly, but it makes you feel better. And the aftertaste is okay. And you can digest it. And it's an easy thing. And it makes you feel good. It's not complicated. It's not hard to understand. And I'm never going to lie to you. I'm never going to tell you something just because. Now, the third thing, I'm going to give you a lot of reasons. That might have been the third. In fact, you keep track for me. The next thing. You are being so bombarded with so much information, you don't even know what's true anymore. You have no earthly idea what is going on. And it's not your fault. It's by design. It's not your fault. You can't follow this. You can't even remotely come. You can't get near this in terms of the information because there's just so much going on. And what's popular and what's not, I have no. I gave up on this. I can't figure out, and I never could. Now listen to what I'm saying. I don't know what's popular, why this music is popular, this fashion style is, why this guy is okay. I don't know. I gave up. It's not my concern. But what I know is right now we look at things in terms of triage. Let me give you an example. Whenever somebody wants to work out or get in shape or feel better or get healthy, they always say, now, what do I do? Think about this. By analogy, what do I do? First thing is lose weight. Second thing, lose weight. Third thing, lose weight. We'll worry about all these sit-ups later and whether the push-downs are better than French curls. Stop it. Lose weight. Lose weight. Priority number one, lose weight. We'll get to the other stuff later. We'll get to that later. Not yet. Lose weight. That's what this is right now. What do we do? He's got to get elected. He's got to get elected. Everything else doesn't matter. And I'm telling you, I'm focusing. Everything doesn't matter. Hunter Biden doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Now, there is right now, as we speak, so much information that is bombarding you. And if you want to know about information, if you want to know about stuff, let's look at it this way. Number one, here's what to focus on. How do you know that it's over? How do you know that it's over for the Dems? How do you know? Rule number one, don't listen to polls. Polls don't matter. Do you know what a poll costs? About $1 million. Do you know that a poll costs about $1 million? And $1 million is so critical right now because you have to have the right people, the right poll, the right group, the right distribution. What you're seeing right now, ABC and all this, doesn't mean anything. Forget the polls. Forget that. Forget that. You don't need everybody to win an election. You have to win critical states. You have to win the Electoral College. You have to, you know this. But it goes back to what I said. How do you win an election? You don't have to win every state. I forget to win the election by getting 270 electoral votes. I think you need like 27 states or something. Big ones, mind you. And when I tell people this, when I explain this is what we need, swing states and turnover states and toss-up states, they look at me and they say, I don't know what you're talking about. What is a toss-up state? What does this mean? I'll tell you what it means. Now, let me stop for a second. Let me thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for listening. Thank you for focusing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It means more than you can imagine. And I want you right now, please, to like this video, subscribe to the channel. Please, it's so critical. And I can't explain that enough to you. That is the thing that I want to do. I want to get the word out to people. I also thank you for being so kind and so wonderful and listening to the incredible messages of our sponsors, specifically My Patriot Supply. PrepareWithLionel.com. I think I've said this very, very clearly. There are very few things that I honestly feel is a matter sometimes of life and death and survival. Like I was listening to somebody who did a wonderful spot on razors. Razors, well, as you can tell, are important. And there's no doubt about that. And it's a great product and razors. But there's no way to have that passion. If somebody said, what if there's a razor ban? What if all of a sudden you can't buy razors? What if because of weather or because of martial law, because of lockdowns, there's no razors? There's no corollary to this. Fuel, water, and food. That's it. That is it. So preparewithlionel.com, 25-year shelf life. Do it and do. This is a great starter kit. I can't say this enough. This is not some Google, which is a nice way of saying some little luxury item. This is the bottom line. This is critical. Preparewithlionel.com. The link is here. You will see it. I thank you. Now, let me move on. Now, I want to explain something to you. And this is important because a lot of people have a difficult time with this. But I'm going to see if I can break it down. Should you be afraid? Yes. Should you be really afraid? Yes. Should you be paralyzed? No. No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We are in political combat. We are in ideological, intellectual combat. This is where we are right now. And if you've ever talked to somebody who's actually been in combat itself, real honest to God, guns and bullets and hitting the deck and everything else, they have told you that once it starts, many times the fear drops and the operational training gets into play. The fear sometimes is in anticipation. The fear can be maybe a post operational reflection of what happened. But during the actual event itself, they're focused, they're trained, they know what to do, they've been through this before. Later on, they think about, wow, that was a close one. Look what we went through. Okay. Right now, there are many folks who live in the world of anxiety and panic and fear. So here's what I say. What's your plan? What's your plan? What are you going to do about this? What are we going to do? We've been training for this. What are we going to do? What do we look for? What do we pay attention? Now, most of the time, we can say, well, that's nice, but we can train all we want, but we're not actively involved in this. Yes and no. Yes and no. Premise number one, truth number one. If all of a sudden, pick any place, I don't know where you live, but if all of a sudden Kathy Hochul, who was the governor of New York, if she woke up one day in Albany at the mansion or the state capitol, and if there was 1 million people marching in the street, she'd be gone. She'd be gone. She'd be dead. It would be at the end of it. She would be so marked, so blemished by that, it'd be over with. If 1 million people marched in Washington, now I don't know who'd want to go near Washington, and that's one of the reasons why the January 6th piece was so critical. But if 1 million people marched in Washington, nothing will happen. It'd be the end. It would be the end. By the way, thank you for your likes. I appreciate it, but I need more. Sorry to be like that. But these are brutal times, brutal responses. If there were 1 million people, if all of a sudden every camera, this is the news. This is the news, not CNN, not Fox. Today on Fox I saw somebody, they have National Pancake Day. That's nice. They're still doing PM Magazine. They're still doing this light Dave Garroway Today Show nonsense. They still have a morning show producer. They still have 1 foot in the 50s. This is the future. This. Right here. Not TV. Not those people. This is it. And if there were 1 million people marching, let's say, similar to at the Washington Monument, saying Biden must go, that would change everything. But that's not going to happen. So let me just tell you something. It could, but it's not going to happen. It's like when you tell somebody, you have to go on a diet. Well, I've been on diets before. Have you ever done that before? Well, you got to lose weight. Well, I've done it. You know, my family's just big. I'm just big boned. My uncles are big. My father, everybody's big. You know, and they'll just talk their way. Meaning, you don't want to do it. Okay, I understand. Just say so. Let me say this again. Let me just say this again. We have the power to change anything we want, but we won't do it. We won't do it. If there were people standing, if there was a candlelight vigil that said we want America back or Trump or whatever it is, if there was something, good luck having the shadow government media trying to explain that one away. What would they say? What would they say? Wow, there's a bunch of crackpots. There's 1 million crackpots with candles. Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you hear what I'm telling you? What if there were 1 million people? 1 million people standing there. It could be done, but it's not done. Nothing. It just doesn't work that way. Why do you think that is? Because people don't do it. So, I'm partly, like you, just kind of disgusted and dispirited by the fact that, well, apparently this doesn't really bother anybody. Nobody really cares about this. I care about it, but you have the power. So that's number one. You don't need $1 million. If there's one thing that social media has absolutely guaranteed, one thing, is that it is the most powerful convention, it is the most powerful instrument of change there has ever been. That's why it's been weaponized. Let me say this again. And here's how Trump wins. Social media. When Trump ran the first time, he had a guy named Brad Parscale. Brad Parscale was a genius with, I think, Facebook at the time. This is the most important thing there is. If you went to key states, if somebody could figure this out, and you need an unfettered social media system to do this, but if somebody could say, I don't want your money, send me a vote. I want you to pledge a vote. I want you to promise me. I don't want your money. I want you to promise me you're going to go during this primary, this caucus, this, whatever it is, and I want you to vote for me. Do I have your promise? And the people said yes. And if, follow me through this, and if they said, yeah, that's it. You don't even need money anymore. This is the most powerful thing in the world. This is the most social media. This is the phone, the telegraph, the whisper, gossip, newspapers, everything rolled up into one at levels you can't even imagine. And that's why it's being weaponized, and that's why we have to do everything in our power to make sure that it is free and unencumbered. That's why it's critical that we have to reclaim these as utilities. Social media platforms are not some nice little trifle that we really don't need. They are as critical as the phone company. Imagine being on the phone and Verizon or somebody cuts your call because you're chatting about virus protocols or something. I don't know, whatever. Ivermectin. And your phone drops. Imagine if your phone dropped. You say, what was that all about? And you call your carrier and say, well, we notice you've been talking about a lot of misinformation. You don't trust the science. Excuse me, you're a phone company. Well, maybe, but not really. Not really? What are you talking about? You're a phone company. You can't do this to me. Well, yeah, we can. No, you can't. But see, nobody will do anything. Nobody will march. They know, like the bully who pushes you and you don't fight back. The bully has nothing to stop the bully with and by. So the bully will just continue doing this. Now remember what I'm telling you. This is good news. I am telling you, this is it. But nobody wants to tell you this. And one of the reasons why, you have to understand something. And I'm going to give you an analogy. But first, let me tell you the rules. The reason how Trump wins is we have to disgorge ourselves, remove ourselves from all conventional platform, everything, every conventional thinking, political parties, what your father thought, the words liberal and conservative and MAGA. Just start all over again, as the Desert Rose Band would say. Just start all over again. Start from scratch. Listen to what I'm telling you. Start from the beginning. Now, let me give you an example of something. Years ago, there were folks, not so much Jesse Jackson when he was working for Dr. King, but give you an example. Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton's message should have been something to the effect of, go to work, go to school, stay home, stay with your family, maintain familial integrity. Men, support your family, support your kids, we can only do it. We are 14% of the population and 70% of the jails. It's us. We're failing. We have to do this. We have to do it. Nobody will do it for us. Okay? That would do the trick. Is that what Al Sharpton said? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. His was, you're a victim. You're a victim. You are clobbered by the white man, and you need me. You need me. And I can go to various organizations, just like the mob used to. This is so good. This is so Tommy Lucchese. This is protection. I go to you. Listen, you might have you got a problem with your workforce. Well, we don't think your program is really that beneficial to African Americans. Well, what can you do? Donate to the National Action Network or whatever it is, and your problems will go away. Bloomberg basically bought off. You remember when Bloomberg was mayor? You never heard of Al Sharpton. You never heard of him. And that's his bought off. But this is just the way it goes. So. Why do I bring that up? By the way, I need 300 likes, my friend. Can't say this enough to you. Can't say it enough. Please be so kind as to instruct everyone how to hit the like button. Hit the... How does one do this? Please let everybody know so that we know this, because I don't think people realize how easy it is. And since I'm not liking anybody, I'm doing the talking here, I don't have this. So please, if you could, just instruct everyone to hit the like button. That's all. It means quite a bit. In any event. Now, where do we go next? First, I want you to imagine that this is the most corrupt system that we have. I don't know if you want to hear this, but I'm going to tell you that. At every single level, from everything you can imagine, from TV to news to politics to religion to churches to media, magazines, fashion, politics, it is the most corrupt thing anybody has ever seen. It knows a level of corruption that we can't even put into words. Okay? Does that make sense to you? It is so corrupt. The level of corruption is so great. That's number one. Number two, they don't want you to feel like you have any action. They're pulling an Al Sharpton. Does anybody ever talk about voting? No. Does anybody ever talk about voting? No. No. The biggest con, remember something, and this is the most important thing. I keep saying that because I keep saying this is the most important thing for about 50 things, and it's all true. There is an old adage, and it's not an old adage, it's true. When the mob comes to whack you, to kill you, it will always send somebody that you know, somebody that trusts you. It turns off your radar. One of the reasons why AIDS is so deadly as a disease is that it doesn't kill. It kills by virtue of opportunistic diseases. It turns off your radar. It turns off your immune system. And what people like Fox and others do, and Breitbart to an extent, is to turn off your immune system, to keep you mollified and happy. But they don't want you active. Let me say this again. They don't want you to vote. Taylor Swift, is the biggest artificial, manufactured, very talented, but phony and living lie, and I'll leave it at that everybody knows. It's just PR manufactured. But let me tell you what she does. She goes out and she says, I want you to vote. To vote. She's pushing the vote. Isn't that wonderful? She does that. And she gets votes. Have you heard one person? Have you heard one of your famous country music stars? Have you heard any of the, name it? No. Democrats do that. Do you think anybody, shouldn't there be voter registration at NASCAR events? Think about this. NASCAR, rodeo, the Grand Ole Opry, Branson, regular NASCAR, just regular. In the South, NASCAR is huge, but just racing events, high school football, people going there, not on the school grounds itself, but elsewhere. No. Can you name anybody? By the way, laugh at Taylor Swift as you want. This is a PR machine. You understand what I'm saying, right? This is a PR machine. You know the image she's crafted, right? It's all a lie. She is everywhere. It's marvelous. Respect that. What will you normally say? Oh, I hate her. Oh, missing the point. See, that's where you missed everything. People always look at it from my point of view, right? NASCAR. Oh, that's so stupid to drive around in a circle. Oh my God. You don't get it, do you? No, apparently I don't. You don't get it, do you? Nope, I don't get it. I don't get it. Nobody's asking whether you get it or not. Nobody's asking. Doesn't matter whether you get it or not. Pay attention. Why is this important? What is voting about? It's about psychology. Need your likes, friends. Need your likes. I'm sorry. I hate to. When I say it, the number goes up, and then it goes, and then I say it again, so it goes back up. It's okay. I appreciate this. I know it. I know I'm asking a lot. I always ask for support, and we're just. This is critical stuff here. But you see, what I'm trying to do is how Trump wins. You've got to change your attitude. You've got to take everything you've known and throw it away. Everybody wants to be the smartass. Everybody wants to be the know-it-all. Everybody wants to sit there and say, "Well, I say, I'm not asking you what you think. I'm not. I mean, nobody. This isn't a show. This isn't a platform. But well, do you like this one? Why do you hate Kim Kardashian? Kim Kardashian is a genius. This is a PR genius. I always want to know about psychology and public relations. Did you ever hear of Nathan's Hot Dogs? Nathan's Hot Dogs is on Coney Island, right? And there was a fellow who was so smart. Hot dog. Can you imagine hot dogs then compared to now? It might have been even safer then, but now hot dogs with nitrates, nitrites. Oh dear God. In any event, do you know what they did? The owner, Nathan, there was a nearby hospital, and he told all the doctors, "Come by and I'll give you half price for a hot dog, but you got to wear a white coat. Anybody there have a white coat? Wear your white coat." Because white coat meant health, it meant doctors and good for you. And he just took pictures of hundreds of white coats standing in long queues and lines to buy Nathan's. And he said, the healthiest thing. This guy was a genius. Ray Kroc. I love the psychology. I don't want to ask people what you think. I want to change the way you think. If I ask people, what do you think? Then I'm just going to keep giving you stuff that, no. I'm only going to succeed if I change the way you think. And there's a way you change people, the way people think regarding politics is by doing one of two things. You talk, Trump one thing, but you also explain how negative things are, and you don't go extraneous. There are people in this platform who love to talk about everything from conspiracy theories, as they're called, to CIA, to Operation, and then go through all these, mongoose and all this stuff. And they're wasting their time. They don't understand. How am I going to get? Who's my audience? My audience is going to be people that I want to vote. And there are people who like Trump. There are people who love Trump, but they may not vote for him. Or they may not vote, or they just may. I don't know. Unless you vote, it means nothing. Unless you lose weight, it doesn't matter. Everything else is a waste of time. So how do I get people to vote? That's it. I don't sit around and say, the CIA, I think the NSA probably is tracking. Or what are we talking about? I'm going to say something, and I want you to listen to me. I don't want you to take this the wrong way. We are our own worst enemy. We are insane with the stuff we talk about and what we believe in. We are insane. We talk about stuff that's such tripe. It's interesting, but it creates this own critical mass. And I'm thinking, you know what? Let's win first, and then we'll talk about this. I know people who, I swear to God, they don't know anything about. They want to talk about vaccines all day. Okay. What do you want to do? I was hearing somebody the other day. I'm not going to mention who, but he's a good friend of mine. And he loved to talk about, I hate Trump because Trump should have shut everything down regarding COVID or vaccines. And he basically impaneled the world, imprisoned the world, and he operated a warp speed was wrong. And I could not believe what I was listening to. And I'm saying, you are an idiot. You are an idiot. At the time of an international pandemic where people were worried about people dropping dead in the street, and you think he should have said, oh, no, we're not going to buy this. No, there's no such thing as COVID. Nah, don't worry about it. No, no. It's a joke, folks. It's some Bill Gates fantasy. You think that? Do you really think that? If you think that, you're gone. And I know people who are on the radio and platforms now, they say this and they believe it. That Trump should have said that. You're out of your mind. Or they believe that Trump's got to come out and declare that the first thing he's going to do we have to abolish abortion. Abolish abortion? Nobody wants that. No way. Do you want to win or not? Well, I want to speak the truth. I want to win. I don't care how we win. And if we can legally cheat like others do it. As long as it's legal. We mislead? I don't care. Win. Distort? I don't care. Win. I don't care. No more Mr. Nice Guy. I don't want to tell people the truth. See, you have this. I got to tell you something. You love to say the truth. I don't want the truth. I'm not interested in that. My truth is not your truth. Your truth isn't mine. This is this word. There's no absolute. I don't even know what that means. What I'm talking about is something very, very simple. I want to win. And if Trump loses this election, if we have 4 more years of this, it's going to be over with. Do you know that in New York City, New York State, they're advocating citizens walking around with, what is it, with Narcan? Walking around, they're saying, hey, citizens, make sure you have some naloxone, some Narcan. So when you're walking on the street and you see somebody in the middle of an overdose, you can save their lives. This is from the government. They want me to, I'm not going to administer this. First of all, we have a Good Samaritan statute, but I'm not going to subject myself to liability if I'm going to be doing this. You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. No way. Dear God, no. No way. I'm not going to go to somebody and start giving Narcan. I don't know anything about this. What do I know? What if there's some kind, and then the family sues me? No. That's me. You can do whatever you want. Number 2, the governor of New York is dispensing the National Guard. We thought, oh, good, finally, to help people with what? Unemployment? To
fast-track them for working papers.
To fast-track illegals. Sending the National Guard. Let me tell you something. You want more of this? Do you want more of this? I need more likes. I need 300 likes. I'm sorry. I can't. Do you want more of this? I don't. So what do you want? The truth? I want to win. I want to win. I'll worry about the truth later. I want to win. I want Trump to win. Period. End of discussion. That's all I care. Everything else we'll discuss. We'll talk. You want to talk about chimeras? I think AI is important. I'm not talking about AI. Nobody cares about it. You want to talk about the death penalty? No. You want to talk about geoengineering? No. You want to talk about what? The border, crime, family. 3 things. Very simple. Very simple. Very simple. The border. Trump can do this very simply by walking out, having huge, just on his. He's never used artificial. He's never used social media ever effectively, ever. He tweets. That doesn't win over the undecided. He speaks to the crowd. He speaks to his fans. He loves applaud from people that already love him. I want to inspire new applaud. He has to show nothing but pictures and pictures and pictures of people. Headlines. Put together the best stuff ever. Just pump it out over and over. Let it go viral. Let it go crazy. Then he needs people to report on how it's going crazy. And then one day, someplace, he has to go, I don't care where, maybe not Washington, maybe not whatever, I don't care, but he needs a place, safe place for everybody to show up. And he can get 1 million people like that. Mount Rushmore, someplace where that's safe. Washington is not safe. It's not safe. And then he says, I need everybody watching right now to proliferate. And then the media, because they're not talking about it, will have to talk about how everybody's talking about this. You have to use, he has never used social media once. He has never sat down with you and just spoken with you. When he reads, he does this weird breathing thing. I don't know what. He thinks of playing golf. Look at me, I'm going to hit a ball. I don't know what this is about. In the back part of my mind, I realize it can't be. I think to myself, maybe he doesn't want to win. Maybe, but nah, that can't be. So here's how he wins. You can do it. Hope to God, pray to God, pray they try this 14th Amendment stuff. I've been through this before. Then he wins in the House. He can win in the House. He can win in the House under the Constitution, under Section 3. Or basically the Constitution, this conditional voting. I mean, it's there. It's there. So that's what I want you to think about. And by the way, I hate to say this. Forget the truth. I want to win. I don't care about the truth. That's not my thing. I don't care about truth. Okay, fine, truth. I want to win. He's got to get back into office. He's not perfect, But if you don't like him, hold your nose and vote for him. That's it. Because I don't want 4 more years. If you think this is bad, 4 more years under Gavin Newsom, why do you think Newsom and DeSantis are talking? All right. Now, my friends, I told you before, and I mean this. We are so happy and so proud of our wonderful sponsors. And I've got it right there. And it's right there for you to see. Preparewithlionel.com. Preparewithlionel.com. I would never, ever, ever think that it would be necessary at any point to explain to anyone how indeed it is possible to try to convince people. You would think you couldn't buy, there would be no emergency food available because people would run. And the reason why is, and I know this, when you think about it, it makes you realize we are in perilous times. It's absolutely true. So preparewithlionel.com. Preparewithlionel.com. Go right now. See for yourself. And also our great friend Mike Lindell at mypillow.com. Promo code Lionel. Wonderful people. The abuse this man has been given, and that's not the reason why you should support him, because of the abuse. But it is just because they think they run the show. They think they can tell you. No. You're a prepper lunatic. Don't do that. And Mike Lindell is nuts. No, we don't want you to buy this. Excuse me. Nobody tells us what to do. Thank you, my friends. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Please do me a favor. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at lionelnation. Don't forget Mrs. L. Lynn's Warriors. We haven't even discussed human trafficking yet. That's on the list. But you can't give too many people too many things to worry about. Crime, borders, and family. That's it. Remember, I want to win. Do you want to win? Then come on board. That's all. I want to win. We'll worry about this truth business later. Have a great and a glorious day. See you tonight at 7. Don't forget to follow the channel. Subscribe to this channel. Need your subscriptions. You got to subscribe. Because if the new ones pop up, you got to see it. So see you tonight. Don't forget the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Dead.